What's up, and welcome to Nighttime at the Nerd Bar episode. I'm gonna wait this side. Yes, four. No, I can do it either way. 40.
Are we at 40?
Yes.
What?
Ah,
What?
yeah.
Okay, when we hit 100, we have to have like a party.
Oh, I like
I
it.
don't know
I like
how,
it.
but we
Yes.
gotta.
We gotta have a party. I like it. I think that's a good plan. But yes, welcome to Nighttime at the Nerd Bar episode 40. So happy to have you with us. If you're watching us live, join us in the live chat. And if you're watching later, no worries, comment down below and go through. I'm Carrie Lane. I'm joined by my awesome co-host.
And I'm Katie Cullen. Hi, all my buddies.
Yes. We're going to be talking all things Overlord, so stay tuned for that. We also have Overwatch. Then we have an unboxing, and we have other fun stuff to talk about, such as Dragon Ball Super, which did really good at the box office.
Do you have this pulled open? Because I don't, but I believe the latest number was $20.1 million and the number one movie at the U.S. box office this past weekend.
Get it.
So, y'all turned up.
Fans showed up. Yes.
Oh my God. The only reason I didn't go out to watch it this weekend is because this weekend was Labyrinth, and that was my entire weekend. But again, we were fortunate enough to see the preview and the premiere.
The other
Big Monday energy, and I will definitely be going to see it with my roommate. She's excited, and I've been having to keep spoilers on lock because I know she's gonna love it. And so I'm just like, oh yeah, the movie. We're not talking about it yet. We're gonna go see it.
Dragon Ball Rab in the chat says Dragon Ball Super Dads.
This is correct.
Yeah.
This is correct. I once again maintain that this is a good Gohan movie and an amazing Piccolo movie. So, if that's your speed, you're going to love this one.
Which, shout out to that. I will include it in the description down below. But if you're watching it live, go check out the FANVERSATION website where there's an awesome article review of the film by this awesome human here.
I do work sometimes.
Yay! And also in the description are the interviews we had, in case you missed those, with some of the voice actor cast. So, woo, round of applause for that. Those are super cool. Thanks again to all of those people we talked with. Also, real quick, back in the chat, Rab also says, "Never fear, I am here." Yay! John
Different
Knight,
franchise, but I'll take it.
John Knight says, "Watching Devil is a Part-Timer season 2 English dub." All right. Haven't started that one, but yes.
I haven't gotten around to season 2. Season 1 was a lot of fun and also one of my best worst dub watching stories. That was partly user error and partly Netflix's subtitling problem.
Gotcha. Speaking of that, we'll get to some subtitle issues I had for Overlord, which we'll talk about that later. More like, wait a minute, hold on. But yes, Dragon Ball Super, if you haven't been able to go see it yet, it is very fun in theaters if you're able to and feel comfortable doing so. Also with an anime audience.
Yes.
Makes it all the more fun.
If you are comfortable going out to a theater, get your mask, get your KN95, get your popcorn, alternate, and go to a theater and watch this with a crowd who knows what they're in for. It is a very fun movie to watch with fans.
Some other things we're excited about. I was like, wait, I went and saw Atarashi Gakko again.
Nice.
And this was one of their shirts, which was so awesome.
God.
So this was at the Roxy in LA, and it was an amazing show to be so close to them. I'll be posting some videos, I think, of it. But I apologize in advance for the sound because I'm glad I put some earplugs in, which well, not really a tangent, but side note, I don't care what age you are, start wearing earplugs at concerts. Your ears will thank you later. You can still hear everything just fine. And I actually kind of felt that earplugs helped with the distortion of the sound system.
Yeah.
So earplugs. And if you don't have earplugs, you can get just napkin and roll it up and gently put it in your ear. Trust me.
But you can also get them at Vaughn's.
Yes. Well, it was one of those things that I was like, fudge, and we forgot about them, and it was time to be in line, so I was like,
there's not a CVS nearby. I can't.
Yes. Oh my goodness, it was I was so happy with that shirt. Giga Derek says hello.
Yo.
Yes. But anyways,
Yeah.
if you can see them live, which I hope they do more shows, you should go check them out.
Yeah. You went to Adarashigako and I went to the Fey Realms,
Yes.
basically. For those of you who were in Los Angeles this weekend and decided to go, the Labyrinth of Jareth Costume and Masquerade Ball was this weekend. And that is where I spent my weekend as part of the Wizards Guild, hence the I, running dice games in the Fey Realm. It's a lot of fun. For those of you who have seen the 1986-87 movie Labyrinth, starring David Bowie.
Like,
And that, yeah, it's wonderful. David Bowie and Jim
86.
Henson's 86. Okay.
Very close.
It's a great little fantasy movie, amazing puppeteering, great soundtrack. And there's a bit in the middle where there is an elaborate masquerade ball. And this is an event that started technically 25 years ago. We didn't do one in 2020 for obvious reasons, but this was the 24th Labyrinth Masquerade. We take over the Biltmore Hotel, which is this beautiful. Like, for those of you who have been seeing pictures of like the Bridgerton experience in LA, that's where it is. So all those fountains, all those beautiful golden wrought iron gates, all of that, that's there. That's part of the hotel. And so we were setting up around that. There's dancing, there's stage shows, there's my favorite part of the night is the dragon dance, where our 15-foot dragon puppet made by the Henson Corporation joins dancers on stage, and we do Dance Magic Dance, we do the YMCA, we do the Time Warp. It's one of those greatest hits party songs, but also there is a dragon on stage. If you're on my Instagram and you were looking at my stories, I did post that at like 3 a.m. the other night, because that's when you get home from Labyrinth, is 3 a.m. And I will probably put it up again because that is some fun stuff. Yep, watch Labyrinth. So yeah, it's always in August. It's always in LA. So next
it's
year
always at the
is
Biltmore, yeah.
It's always at the Biltmore. Next year is the 100th anniversary of the Biltmore and the 25th anniversary of the Labyrinth. So the hotel has already asked us, like, can you do some special things? So next year may have special things. But yeah, I'm a member of the Wizards Guild, and that's kind of where I live for one weekend in August. So yeah.
I would also add to that, if anybody is a tourist in LA or you live in LA and you've never been to the Biltmore, you could go anytime and go look at the lobby. There's a dining area you can eat at, and just walk around the hotel. It's very pretty. I had family visit one time and we explored it that way. I was an extra on Mad Men once and we filmed there. So
I will say, if you're going to do that, make sure there isn't an event. I don't know how much of the hotel the Bridgerton experience took up, but Labyrinth takes the entire bottom floor, the lobby, the bars, all of the floor below, the crystal ballroom, the throne room, everything. We take everything because it's a huge event. So like, if you're going to go and just see what the hotel looks like, do it on a weekday or check the calendar and make sure there's not some big event going on in there. Because if there is, you probably won't see most of the hotel.
A little limited. Yeah.
A little limited. Here's the lobby. Bye.
Yeah.
So that's what I was excited about this weekend.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
I'd say we'll pivot. Oh yeah. Then let's get to our unboxing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got my nice shirt, and then I'm like, excuse me. There we go. Japan crate.
Yes.
All right, let's precariously open
Good
things.
stuff.
So we have, this one's for August. I'm trying to like prop it up on my shoulder. So we have Summer Matsuri.
Oh, that's cute.
I like the mask. That's very cute.
Yeah.
Okay, and glare, not too bad. Okay, so here's the start of what's inside. Woo, big items. I like it.
Yeah.
I just bumped my earpiece there. Let's open it up. I'm trying to precariously hold everything. All right. You get this wonderful flyer that tells you about everything inside the premium crate. They do photos of people who turn in their photos of, there's somebody with their cat. And
that's adorable.
There we go.
Yes,
that's cute.
Perfect. Top center.
So let's see what the special items are. Okay.
Yes.
I think I've had a similar one to these, and I'm excited. We got some cheddar
Ooh.
chips. I'm like, oh wait, gonna give you guys some ASMR. We do ASMR on this show a little bit, you know? Okay. All right, let's see. I'm trying, so it's definitely cheddar crunchy. I'm like, what would I describe it as?
I can't help you with this one. I'm over here.
Because it's not a Cheeto. Imagine an airier, like more, not as dense Cheez-It kind of. Yeah, that's probably a good way to describe it. And nice.
I'm gonna say, show me the drink.
I know, that's the other favorite. Here we go.
Yeah, the drink and then whatever crazy flavor of Kit Kats you got this month.
Okay, wait. This is Power Water. This refreshing and fruity carbonated drink is the perfect boost you need when studying, working, or relaxing during a hot summer evening. Woo, yay. I always love the beverages as well. Oh!
Do you remember the old Power Thirst commercial? Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I was thinking of with Power Water.
Oh, that's cute. And then look at the back. They have a nice little Kyoto.
That is pretty.
This mirroring, I am failing. There we go. Wait. Okay. Haha. Man. I was excited because I looked in there and I'm like, oh, these look like Oreos.
Ooh,
Yay. Yeah.
Noir I think I've had those before. Those are pretty good.
Bite into these mini cookies and enjoy the bitterness of black cocoa biscuit with their sweet vanilla filling. I think they've had another one like that and I really liked them, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Then we have a couple peachy items. Wait, yeah, this one's peach.
Oh, my favorite.
Those look like that's a hard candy. And then we got soft candy peach. I do like the peach flavor candies. And Kit Kat, which I thought they had done a similar one to this before, but yay, it's back. Whole grain, maybe it's a different kind.
It was slightly different, I think.
Yes, whole grain biscuit flavor. A little crunchier than your usual Kit Kat. These ones have crushed whole grain biscuits blended into their white chocolate coating that will leave you wanting more, which is great since you're getting an entire bag.
So it's a white chocolate cracker.
Yes, let's see. Hold on. Well, the other thing I do love about these kind of Kit Kat bags is it's this big, but they're individually wrapped. So you don't need to have you could have them all in one sitting, but you know. All right, let's see. This is, it looks more like, I mean, it's probably a white chocolate, but this looks a little more.
Yeah, that's what it said, but.
Cream colored. Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry, do you just nomp the bar instead of breaking it and having one? Carrie, that is Kit Kat sacrilege.
This is summer and TBH, it's a little melted, distorted, so.
Oh, that's fair. That's very fair. Once Kit Kat bars melt, everything is.
It's fair game. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't snap them anymore after they melt. It doesn't reconstitute.
Rab says Kit Kat hardtack edition. Yes. It's like car talk, but we're talking Kit Kats. But normally, side note, Japan Crate has done it before where they won't send chocolatey stuff during the summer because it's too hot and melts. But I will verify that I have had Kit Kats of theirs where I did let it melt because I had it on my person or something like that. And it still tasted delicious. So don't worry if it melts. But
no, the flavors are just fine. You just can't snap the sticks apart anymore.
No, very well.
No, it doesn't work that way.
All right, just going to hold this up so you can see some other fun, yummy snacks in here. So all kinds of, it's kind of a shrimp one.
All sorts of fun stuff.
And oh, wait, this one would just look cute. Oh, it's like a little bun. Usagi. Oh. There we go. Little wafer.
Is that like a little bun? Ah.
Yeah, let's, that last one. But let me see real quick because that one looks cute. Bunny senbei. Nibble away these classic soy sauce senbei rice crackers like a bunny. Oh, cute. Got it. You'll love their crunch and that rich soy sauce flavor. So nice. So thank you again to Japan Crate, and go check them out for lots of yummy snack stuff. And what I like to do too is if you can't eat it all, I like to share it with people because it's a lot of sugar. But yeah.
And generally, soy sauce flavored snacks tend to be fairly well balanced in terms of flavor.
They do have savory treats too, so it's not all just sugar. There are savory ones, salty ones. So, yes.
Yeah.
All right. And then we
Hey.
got some Overwatch.
As I talk about my madness.
Ye-
Yeah, part of this is Big Monday energy, and part of this is just everything happening so much. This entire meta is a coin flip. And I think I need to start this with the Los Angeles Gladiators, who have won the 2 tournaments so far in this series, are probably not going to qualify for this next tournament because they are currently 0-4. The Gladiators, who are not the winningest team, but definitely one of the more versatile and, generally speaking, one of the better teams. So the thing about this meta is whether your team can get a handle on it or not is a crapshoot. These matches are a coin flip. God help you when you're making predictions. You might as well. The way I've seen people make predictions at this point is you put the 2 team logos down and let your pet decide or your baby decide. I saw someone put 2 logos down and then put a little pile of snacks on each, and their chinchilla decided. Like, it was adorable. In the same way that, they have an octopus predict the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
It's that sort of thing. You could close your eyes and point and come up with more accurate predictions than trying to actually figure out what's going to happen. Because this is a meta right now, this Junker Queen based meta, which people are calling Jotes because it's very reminiscent of goats. And I'm over here in the corner going, goats took too long. I hated the goats meta. Season 2 was a rough one. The meta was named after the team that popularized it. Not any of the characters. Yeah, meta names are always a little weird. Clockwork Vendetta is, I think, my favorite because it was batshit insane, but it was never an Overwatch League meta. It was just a whole bunch of one tricks doing their best. But yeah, Junker Queen Goats, or Jotes as they've been calling it, is a meta that really requires team cohesion. So everyone needs to be in step, everyone needs to communicate, everyone needs to know what they're doing, and everyone needs to be able to hold up their end of the bargain. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes, evidently, if you have a bad week of practice or a bad week of scrims, it can throw your mental badly enough to throw off your gameplay, which is probably what's happening to the Houston Outlaws, because this meta, it's a coin flip. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes they get 3-0'd by the London Spitfire, which is what happened this weekend. I think the biggest surprise this weekend that we do have to talk about, aside from Chengdu keeping their perfect record against the Philadelphia Fusion and just 3-0ing them with seemingly no problems. The APAC play is fun this weekend, you guys. We need to talk a little about Washington Justice and what we've been calling the roster apocalypse, because the deadline for letting go of players or for signing new players was, I believe, the 18th, so this past Thursday. So there were a lot of last-minute moves, last-minute drops, last-minute pickups from contenders, last-minute trades, and the Washington Justice let go of, I want to say, 3 of their starting players, just sent them to other teams, pulled players off the bench, and they were slated to play the, I believe it was the Florida Mayhem on Saturday. And we're all sitting here going, well, they're hosed, because Washington Justice is the coin flip team. You never know if good Justice or bad Justice is going to show up today. Are they going to play well? Who knows? So we were looking at this roster apocalypse in a meta that requires team cohesion up against the Florida Mayhem, who they're a pretty mid-level team. They do pretty well for themselves. They're pretty good. And pretty much everyone was predicting the Justice are going to go down in flames. They 3-0'd the Mayhem like it was nothing. It wasn't even close. Sometimes you get a 3-0 and every map is extremely hard fought, and it's one of those, yeah, the score lies. If you actually watch the match, it took forever and both teams played really well. Not the case here. Not the case. It was this moment of, did Florida forget how to play the game? Because Washington, with all of these people that they pulled, again, after the roster apocalypse, with a bunch of people who are not their usual starters, and I guess are now, just completely steamrollered Florida. It was not close. The desk was flabbergasted. The casters were flabbergasted. I think everyone watching was just like, what the fuck is happening? So This is a coin flip meta. This is one of those sit down, look at any match. It could go either way. The exceptions are, generally speaking, on one end, the San Francisco Shock, who have now tied the Vancouver Titans of season 2, mind you, when they were the seemingly unbeatable powerhouse way back when they pulled the runaway roster. Have tied their consecutive match win record at 19 consecutive regular season match wins. This does not include tournament play because San Francisco is choking pretty badly in tournament play this year. But in terms of regular season, they haven't dropped a match in 19 matches. They are tied for first with the Vancouver Titans, and if they can take their next match, they will hold the record. They're probably going to try and keep that going through the end of the season. And why wouldn't you if it works? So on the one end, your sure bet is the San Francisco Shock. On the other end, your sure bet is the Paris Eternal, who I think have one win to their name now. Now that the Vancouver Titans have not one but 2 match wins under their belt, Jotes Meta is treating them nicely, as it turns out. The Paris Eternal are now the losingest team. You can count on them not to take their matches. And honestly, I'm going to be interested to see where the team goes from here. Because we didn't talk about it as much with Paris as we did with Washington. But Paris also had a roster apocalypse on the 15th and dumped 4 of their 5 starters. And then picked up 4 starters from contenders, including, and this is what threw me, support duo Rack Attack and Luke Mino, who are pretty damn well known in contenders, have fantastic records, and now they're on Paris, the current losingest team in the league. And on the one hand, it's very obviously Paris hoping for a turnaround. Like, you pick up who you can, you try to shore things up before the deadline, you try to do better, and you've picked up 4 players from contenders who are all very good, and 2 of them, again, this support duo, who are extremely good, in my opinion. You still have to work with team cohesion. You still have, this team has only been together for 5 days before their next match, and you're still having trouble with this meta. But I'll be interested to see where they go from here. And then on the side of contenders, getting picked up into the league isn't easy. There's a limited number of spots, there's a limited budget, and the league will pick up players who are underage and hold on to them until they turn 18 and play them. Like, this is what happened with Super on the San Francisco Shock. He was on the bench for season 1, and then season 2 and 3 was a terrifying Reinhardt player. So competition to get into the league is stiff, and it's, unless there are multiple teams vying for you, if you can get your foot in the door with anyone and then get some numbers on the board, you have a better chance of staying in the league and getting traded to other teams than you would if you were. You have a better chance of being traded once you're already in the league than you do getting in the league in the first place. So on the one hand, it's getting recruited by Paris. On the other hand, it's getting recruited by an Overwatch League team. Your foot is now in the door. You have made it. And if Paris starts winning after this, maybe it's these contenders pickups. Who knows? It's going to depend on their next matches. And it's going to depend on the meta shift, because contenders is already on a different patch. And Overwatch League, after Summer Showdown, so after these next few weeks, after this tournament, is going to move to either that patch or yet another one. Because it turns out that Junker Queen is super overpowered. Who would have thought? And they're toning her down to try to balance things a little. So if you're watching contenders, they're currently doing the B-Sides tournament. You're seeing a lot more, believe it or not, Wrecking Ball in the meta. And you're seeing... it's not Reinhardt come back. There's more tank play with a different variety of tanks because they're already on a patch that balances Junker Queen out a bit more. We're not going to get that patch until after the tournament. So for now, we are locked in coin flip Jotes mode. Anything could happen. God help you with your predictions. And the Toronto Defiant are pushing so hard because the tournament is going to be on LAN in Toronto, and they really want to attend. And so far, I think they're up 3 matches, which means they probably will. They're doing better than a lot of teams that are, generally speaking, usually better than they are. So, Summer Showdown's going to look insane. I will lose my mind if Vancouver Titans get into the tournament and get to compete for a while, and it's looking like they might. It's all nuts. None of it makes any sense. But the chaos is fun. The chaos is just fun. So that's where we are for Overwatch League. The rules are made up and the points don't matter, except that the rules are very firm and the points absolutely matter, but I had to make the reference.
I was gonna say, I'm like, yes, the craziness of Overwatch constantly, it seems, even though I'm not very familiar, but I'm like, this seems to be a common trend.
It's this particular meta. It's the introduction of this character that has just thrown everything into chaos. And honestly, given the character of the Junker Queen, given the backstory we've set up for her, given the moveset, given that she's basically the queen of the apocalypse, shows up and causes chaos, perfectly in character. I'm here for it. Let's go. Yes, my teams are losing, but you know what? I'm having fun because everything's nuts. Yeah, it's not like being a Valiant Season 2 fan where you're losing because you can't get a hold of the meta and the meta just won't go away and they have to implement an entire different game rule in order to change it. My team is still losing because they can't get the hang of the meta, but I know the meta is going to shift in 3 weeks, so I can just ride this out and have fun. It's different. It's very, very different. Being a Gladiators fan right now is like being a Season 2 Valiant fan. It's nostalgic in a bad way.
I was trying to think of a funny pun to tie it into our Overlord, and I'm like, well, it's some people have been thrown for a loop recently.
Overlord, let's go.
Yes. So Overlord, oh my goodness. Okay, we are talking season 4, episodes 3 and 4. We're doing 2 at a time until we catch up. So please, no spoilers past episode 4.
And also no light novel spoilers. We are not reading the light novels. So we are going into this fairly fresh.
Yeah. Okay, so I was going to say just real quick that when my subtitle thing that was interesting, so I watched it originally subtitled, and then I was rewatching a little bit dubbed so I can grab some notes because I was like, wait, what happened again? Because I was rewatching some of the other ones. But anyways, when the bishops, high priests have their meeting, in the subtitled version, it has the text that's in Japanese translated. On the dub, they don't translate the text that's there. And I was like,
that's a Crunchyroll thing, though. I was talking about this in Ranking of Kings. Because we were watching the dub, and then whenever Satan would have a line, there'd be the hard-coded Japanese subtitles, and they wouldn't put in anything for the English. This is also actually a Netflix thing, and the reason that my watch of Devil is a Part-Timer in dub was such an experience. But
if you were curious what their titles were, go watch the subtitled version of that sequence, because as it pops up yes, Katie has some thoughts on their names, but it was interesting hearing they're Earth, Wind, and Fire, of what they are. But that was so unfortunate on the English dub that they didn't include that. And I'm like,
It is very much an oversight, especially an accessibility oversight, when you can't put subtitles on when you're watching it in English. We've talked about this issue with Crunchyroll's UI before.
But that's also that's side note different. That's adjacent of the dialogue that's being said. But this is on-screen text, which normally they translate on other shows too. If there's a signage on within the world, but
it's a matter of essentially putting in that. I don't have the terms to explain it, but seeing the back end and knowing you need to put in a track, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's the fact that for the dub, the subtitle track is not available at all. And I would imagine that these translations are a part of the subtitle track. So for Crunchyroll, if you can't enable English subtitles while you're watching in an English dub, you're going to miss the stuff that's coded into the sub track. And again, we go back to it's a Crunchyroll UI issue and it's an accessibility issue. So yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. I can see the technical limitations of why they didn't do it. And my problem once again loops back to I watch everything with subtitles regardless of what language it's in because it helps
Same.
me. And I'm still mad that I can't watch a dub on Crunchyroll with the subtitles turned
Yeah.
on.
There
Like,
were
that's a
some
problem.
there were some moments.
Funimation used to let you do it, and then Crunchy
Yeah.
wouldn't. And it's like, guys, please fix your UI. Like, this is, once again, an accessibility issue.
I will say though, it was interesting because some of the dubbing changed. It is interesting when some moments are changed a little bit, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that conveys the thought a little better.
Yeah.
But let's get into it.
And
So,
also
oh my
matching lip
goodness.
flaps.
Oh yeah. But I mean,
Yeah.
like sometimes I know I've watched different shows where like I'll prefer the sub, but I liked how they explained something better in English.
Yeah.
Like mouth flaps aside, it was just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that kind of explains what happened better. But
Yeah.
I thought it was super cute seeing Ains and being like concerned in a way for Albedo, and I do concern like air quotes in terms of like to her, she's just like, oh, he cares about me.
I thought he was going to reject my proposal for a kiss entirely, but he kissed me on the cheek. Like, honey, tone it down a little. I know it's in your programming, but girl.
Yeah. And I mean, I know you're a succubus and all, but it was kind of adorable and precious.
It was. It was very cute.
Yeah, because it was just like him caring about her in a practical way, but it kind of fed that need of hers of like, he cares about me.
I mean, the punchline being looking at the maid and going,
yes,
I hit everything you just saw. And her like, got it.
Yes, that was.
No, sir, I did not see you playing with your dolls.
Yeah. He's like, anyways. But that was amusing. I like this random device that might help her. I mean, we've seen it before, but again, this will help you not get mind wiped.
Yeah.
Or mind control. That I was like, interesting.
It makes sense to be taking these precautions.
Yes.
I have to say that when we get to the bishop scene.
Oh, I was going to say that's up next, so go for it. Yeah.
I love anime that have European or European adjacent or vaguely European settings where they're like, all right, we're going to do European names or European sounding names. Because here's the thing. On the far end, you have anime that just nail it. Absolutely nail it. Spy Family is closer to that end. On the opposite end, you have, I think you tried, the Google Translate of European names. Attack on Titan is on this end. Flagel. Just, do we have a character in Attack on Titan named Flagel? Okay. The fun part happens when you're in the middle of the spectrum and someone manages to clear the bar, but only just barely enough to make it hysterical. Overlord is smack in the middle of the we can clear the bar most of the time area, and this is what I love about it. And I took a screen cap of one of them because most of them, like, okay, this guy's name is kind of passable and it's obviously French inspired. Look at the structure, look at the consonants, etc. This guy's name is meant to be Germanic or German inspired words. And then we get to the Cardinal of Earth, who was our very first person. And the reason that Megan and I laughed our faces off, laughed every time we got a new name, and then had to back up the entire scene and watch it again so we could actually like read the subtitles and get the information, because his name is Raymond Zarg Lawrenson. I'm stuck on middle name Zarg because Raymond Lawrenson is just like, you did it.
Sure,
you landed it. You're good. Yeah. And then middle name Zarg. Like, is that a college nickname? Did you like pick that up in college? Were you doing keggers with Zarg and then he found religion?
Is Zorg in Toy Story?
Zurg is Toy Story.
There we go.
Zurg with a U is Toy Story. Zurg with an E is StarCraft? I think StarCraft. And Zork is Yu-Gi-Oh! So like,
apparently it's a thing then. You know,
it's a thing. It's a thing. So
the
yeah.
Z sounding
Just
Something.
classic Zarg. So I've been laughing about that for about 18 hours at this point. So that was definitely one where it's like, okay, we're going to lose our minds over all of these names, but mostly Raymond Zarg Lawrenson.
Mhm.
What a serial killer name, you know?
Yes.
Just because if you've ever noticed for serial killers, they always refer to them by first, middle, last. And that's, to my
Mm.
understanding, that is to delineate them from the other people with the same first name, last name that
That's
they
fine.
have.
Yeah.
So that's why you get you get a lot of serial killers that have the triple name. And then I don't know, is it?
Rab asked in the chat, Zarg isn't a serial killer in Nordic lands? Good question.
I have not consumed whatever form of media
know.
Nordic lands is, so I could not tell you.
Also agrees that everything needs subtitles.
Yes, absolutely.
Which, okay, I'm sorry. Quick thing on that, which
Pull
I
up the
saw a
tangent court. There
thing.
we go.
Well, yes, I saw this and I didn't really read it because I didn't really care because it just sounded stupid. So it was saying that Gen Z or anybody, which it was saying more for Gen Z people, and that people want subtitles so that they can read ahead, so they can look away to do stuff on their phone. And I thought that sounded like BS because I want the subtitles so that like I can more fully pay attention and understand all the words that are happening. Because there are plenty of times where I've heard the word, but my brain is like, I don't know what was said. So it's nice to read it.
Yeah.
Or there's an accent, or it's a fake word, like it's a sci-fi made up word. I'll be like, what was it? And your brain's just like, what? So it's nice to read it.
Yeah.
But have you heard that? And then if you are any of those people, like, why are you looking up and down constantly? Get off your phone and watch whatever the thing is. But
I feel like if it's subtitles for something that's not in English, if you're looking
that's
at your
different
phone,
though,
you're going to be
too.
missing a lot anyway.
Yes.
But like
yes.
they've because of the pandemic, Critical Role went from being a live broadcast to a pre-recorded broadcast. And let me tell you, having the captions enabled for the pre-recorded broadcast so I can be watching it for the first time and still have the captions on, pick up all of the crazy names that Matt Mercer comes up with, getting subtitles for all of the crosstalk and occasionally seeing something in subtitles that I hadn't actually heard and being like, hang the fuck on, Travis said that. That's amazing. Or just, being able to follow along with what's happening. Critical Role is a 4-hour broadcast. If I'm making dinner in the middle of that, I want to be able to turn around and go, wait, they're who? What? Oh, okay. And then also, because they're playing Critical Role, because they're playing Dungeons and Dragons, they're not necessarily enunciating like you would a line read. This is all improvised acting for them. So if there's something where it's like someone starts talking and I'm like, I'm not picking up on that, and then I can read the caption and go, I got it. That was a very important line. I'm glad I was able to read it. So yeah, no. I'm here for the accessibility of it all. It's still nice to be able to listen if I'm doing something else, but also like the subtitles are good. Just
agreed.
Yeah, yeah.
Rab
if you're complaining about subtitles
real life
being
thing.
Yeah.
That the serial killer, which okay.
Oh, yikes.
But yes, you were saying if you complain, it was more just a weird thought that I couldn't imagine. I mean, I know people do stuff on their phone. I know people do other things while watching, but I cannot do that. Like if it's something, I will pause. I will pause, address the phone issue, and then go back to it. I'm like, I don't understand.
I figure if you're complaining about the availability of subtitles, you're just complaining for no goddamn reason.
Yes. We have another clarification. Rab says, no, wait, that was a black metal guitarist and criminal. Oh, okay. Well, that was a fun trip down our tangent corner.
All right. So we're just going to stick with Zarg the Pope. Zarg the Bishop, rather. He's a bishop.
Yes, our bishops.
Too many anime popes.
I thought, okay, so question so far, and again, if you know the answer because you've read it or you watched ahead, not say anything, but the Godkin, the two characters that we just got to see an image of, do you think either of them might be players?
No, I actually have a theory about this. We're back to this, ladies and gentlemen.
Theory board. Oh, wait, no, yours is on this side.
Yeah, mine is on. Well, I do both sides.
Oh, this is true.
But right now, this frames nicely. So Yeah, we talked
Yes.
last time about my theories about the different flavors of isekai that may have happened
Yes.
here and timelines
Yes.
not aligning.
Yes.
One of the things is in the opening, we have two shots. We have a shot of a sword and a shot of a ring. It's been a while since I've watched the previous seasons, and I am due for a rewatch so I can put all my theories together more cohesively. But there
Mm.
was talk at one point in the theocracy, like we cut away to them, and there were two characters talking about passing this ring down from one person to another and how it was important. Um, yeah, it's all these little cutaway shots. Like
Mhm.
we don't really see
Trying to
much
remember
from
that.
the theocracy unless we cut away to them.
I felt
So
like we hadn't really seen them much until now. Like,
they haven't been big movers and shakers
okay.
until now, at least not directly. We've
Yes.
been
Okay.
directly dealing with Riestes and with the Empire, but we
Yes.
haven't directly been dealing with the slain theocracy. We've just been talking about them.
Mm.
They were the people that were attacking the village that Nazarick landed next
Yes,
to,
them.
essentially.
Yep.
That was their silver seal, silver scripture. They were talking about the loss
Yeah,
of
yeah.
this troop in this scene here. And that was like season 1, episode 3, because they were trying to kill Gazef.
Mhm.
Me putting all these things together, like I've connected the dots. Most of what we've seen from the Slain Theocracy has been cutting to them talking behind the scenes. We have met at least one of those people in the cutaway, in that scene, in the words. When they mentioned Godkin and they showed us those two characters, we've met at least one of them. I recognize the girl with the two-tone hair. We've met her in these cutaway scenes before. I
Mm.
don't think we've seen her in action. I want to say it was like season 2. I really don't remember. It's been a long time since I've watched these.
I was gonna say I watched it recently and it doesn't feel that familiar. But
But
adding
I
into your theory, did you notice they said this something happened like 200 years ago, which was how much time has passed in this world since the change?
I think that Godkin are they. For one, I'm still sticking with the other players got isekai'd here years and years ago, and it was probably players who were playing as humans, elves, etc.
Yes. Okay.
Whether or not they were complete jerks about it remains to be seen. That's kind of like my pet area of the theory. But then we have, do we think it's the ascendance of a god? It has been 200 years. Well, if the legends are true, 200 years, depending on how long your average lifespan is about 3 human lifespans. So long enough for it to be like your grandpa's or great grandpa's tales, but not long enough for it to be forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that about 200 years ago, give or take, was our first round of isekai. That what they did was either establish or influence the slain theocracy, because we also get that line about the slain theocracy has a longer history than the empire does.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Godkin are descendants of the original isekai people. Because if the original isekai people were seen as gods and we're seeing Ainz as a god because of his ridiculous power, you know, they settle in, they marry some of the denizens of the world, they have kids, etc. And we're looking at a descendant line that comes with this ridiculous otherworldly power baked in. So, yeah, I think that Godkin are isekai descendants, basically.
I like it.
That's where they come by their power levels. That's why they're able to handle Death Knights, because Death Knights are troops that, you know, higher level players in Yggdrasil would have been able to handle, or in Ainz's case, create, summon, no big deal. So yeah.
Rabs has an interesting theory. I like that MMO was a ritual to help someone else return to the real fantasy world the MMO was based on in theory. What if just Ainz and the returner to in the world, and Ainz was a counterweight to the spell?
I think that's hysterical and I love it. Because, yeah, my other ridiculous theory was someone got isekai'd, got out, and then made the MMO to try to recreate the isekai. And then it got connected again to what they were isekai'd to.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, we have something in the past, and that's the reason that we have these spells that Ainz recognizes. It's possible that the world item that we're talking about was left over from the previous isekai generation and it had been inherited. It's entirely possible that the sword and the ring that we see in the opening are some of those inherited generational world items.
Mm.
Because we've
Mhm.
had that
Mhm.
scene about the ring being passed down and that it was important. I
Mhm.
don't remember the details and I don't remember when it was to go back and watch it. So if anyone knows offhand what episode that was, that'd be great. And of course, I don't want to go digging because the light novels are way ahead of where we are in the
Yeah.
series and I will get spoiled to hell and back. But that is my theory. And honestly, everything that we had in this scene with the 200 years ascendance of a god, what if the legends are true and Godkin, all just builds into that.
Well, also I love that we get this bit with El Nix and then the silver thread bird, that group that's going to help and guard him
Once
while
again,
he
we
can
are
talk
back in.
to the
This
bishops.
sounds like a good English guild name. Sure about that?
Yes,
Sure about
sure.
that?
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Cool, 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 cool.
So this was one where I don't have written down what it was in Japanese, but in English, El Nix says this is what peace looks like: is that the people can enjoy violence because they don't know what real violence looks like, and they're not aware of the real violence that's like literally at
Yeah.
their doorstep. And that was kind of like, okay. It was well
Yeah,
said
because
enough in
in
Japanese, but
Japanese
this
it
one is
was
like,
yeah,
oh,
in Japanese it was just they look so happy they have no idea there's a monster next door.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought this
Yeah.
was interesting.
Yeah.
And then yes, how poor El Nix is freaking out when Ains appears. And it's like, oh shit. And the priests are like, peace out, you traitor.
Because like on you feel kind of bad for
I
him,
do. Yeah.
especially knowing that like this really was all just a coincidence.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, we established last season that this guy's kind of a dick.
A little
So
bit.
like
Yep.
you feel bad for him and this whole like his life is falling apart around him and he doesn't know what to do. But on the other hand, it's like so
Mm-hmm.
it's just
Did we
it's
make
all
mistakes? Yeah.
it's all very interesting. And I really feel the hey, can I complain to you guys right now since it's just us? And then just the screaming and his hair is falling out from the stress and like
Oh
the I
yeah.
wanted to do a threat assessment, so I asked him to do some magic. I was not expecting Satan goats. I was not expecting Satan goats. Nobody was expecting Satan goats.
And
What
like
the hell?
130,000 people
1,000 people.
killed.
Just
Which it okay, so we get those kind of balancing the scales in a way. So there was one other recent episode where essentially 100,000 people were taken from the regular kingdom that we had first kind of encountered, taken to Nazareth. So it's like bye. So they were that many taken, and then he kills, which sounds like everything's going good because El Nix is like, well, it sounds like they're living okay, but then he also kills 130,000 people. So it's just like his Ain's complete kind of, or not complete, almost complete, like lack of regard for life really is just like, okay,
it's like, yeah,
almost complete.
he's an
Yeah,
evil undead and we want to kill him. It's like, yeah, but the flip side is he because
but
words.
he also wants to build a utopia. So
Yeah, because you talked in your recap for the previous seasons how in the later seasons you were a little sad that we were moving away from his internal monologue.
yeah,
We got it in spades so far this season, and it is good stuff.
I do like it, but I wish he could understand the. I mean, I like that he's understanding the logic that it's not beneficial to kill people, because
Yeah.
if you're trying to run a kingdom, not a good idea to kill off that many
Yeah.
people. Uh,
But the whole point of that and that big everything in the battle was, again, he's trying to figure out if there are other isekai people here. He's trying to draw them to him. So
yeah,
that big show of casting ridiculous level magic was if there's anyone who plays the game,
so
game
anyone?
strategy is yeah, because game
Nope,
strategy
nobody.
is you see someone setting up a massive ritual, you take them out before it can be
Yeah,
completed. And nobody moved and they just let him pull it off. And he's like, all right, no gamers here. Good to know. I've
Oh, and
made
the
an ally in
soldier
the Empire. Good to know.
the soldier resignation letters, which I'd be like, yeah, fuck it. I peace out. Like if I've been a soldier in that battlefield and survived, bye. No, this is not what I signed up for.
I do love the consistency of everyone who runs into Ainz on a bad day or one of his minions on a bad day, just complete mental breakdown. The
Yeah.
soldier resignation letters, Brain's entire character arc was a breakdown.
So,
So I find it all very interesting. And on the flip side, you have people who run into him like, let's be allies. Everyone in that little village he's adopted. Gazef, right until they wound up
yeah.
on opposite sides of the same war.
Yep.
Like, there are people where he's like, no, that person's mine. Dibs. I like this. I like that we now have the head of the adventuring guild
Yes.
for his, I can't remember the name of the city. It just escaped me.
Um,
Basically going, yeah, because Riestes is the kingdom, but I can't remember the name of the city right now.
well, they were also in the imperial capital at this moment too, together. Which, speaking of him, which I like that his theory, his idea, his plan of, well, why don't you just go to the arena and show off, and that's how you can recruit adventurers. And it's
like,
that's a good idea.
Yeah, I like that. And then also
good plan.
I don't think that's going to work the way you think it will. Forgive my rudeness. And Ain's going, no, please give me your opinions. I need that outside viewpoint. Like, please express your opinions. I appreciate that.
Well, because if you have too many yes people, I mean, yes, of course we want our encouragement, but if you have everybody only agrees with you, if there is a problem,
how do you know if there's a problem?
Yeah.
Because they're like, you're a god. You created us. You're much more clever than we are. You can do no wrong. And he's sitting here like, again, this distilled in episode 4. What's a vassal state?
Yes.
Get a little bit of it in episode 3. Like, yeah, I'm not going to meet him because then he'll know that I don't know anything about royal manners. And we're just going to avoid that right now. So let's do this. It's like, oh, he has a 10 a.m. appointment tomorrow. Great. Like, well, you could just walk in. Yeah, but I'm not gonna.
Well, nah, that's fine.
I don't really need to do that. It's okay. We'll work on his schedule.
Okay, well, speaking of that,
Can
so we
talk about that rabbit woman.
Yes. Okay, so side note on that. I must say, going from sub to dub, that voice is totally changes what that vibe of that character is.
What is the dub voice?
It sounds much more masculine, which I'm like, they say a female rabbit, and it appears female, this creature. And in Japanese, it sounded female. And I'm saying it because, for creature. But in the dubbed, it sounded, I don't know who the voice was, but it sounded far more masculine. I was like, that's a very different, which that would be fine, but that would definitely change the vibe of that character. So I was very confused.
The sub one was also very deep and gravelly. So, like, who knows? The thing that threw me was the hands. And watching the episodes through a second time, because I did, like, all right, I'm going to rewatch the bishop scene so I can pick up all that information again. And then I just wound up rewatching both episodes. And watching her for those, they were very, very careful never to have the hands in frame until they made a point of it. And I'm sitting here going, okay, they're talking about how she's from the rabbit people, how there's a different, the rabbit man race, as they call it.
Yep.
So I'm really curious as to whether this is just like, do all rabbit people have big hands? Is this just a her thing? Like, they made a really big deal out of showing it to the audience and pausing.
Nothing. Yes.
Yeah, no, there's something here.
Yes.
And again, I'm going to go back with the metric of who appears in the opening. Silver Thread Bird appears in the opening.
Yeah.
This trio appears in the opening. Like, again, we look at the opening and go, everyone who's in this has a 50-50 shot of death. So how we doing? I don't think anything's going to happen to the promoter and the rabbit person and anything like that. I also don't think that Silver Thread Bird is going to make it out of here. Just given what we've seen of them.
Nah.
I don't think they're going to make it out.
Gonna happen. Well, I'm just curious because the world building on this is so good that I would think function in terms of like, okay, rabbits, sure, feet, speed, move, big, okay. But then I would think their feet would be big too. Like it'd be a race where their hands and feet are big to like propel them forward or something. But it is one of those, huh. I agree. It
Well,
was very like, so why are we focusing on this? Unless it's just to make the promoter, it was a funny moment of, well, oh, they
I think
changed
it's
that a little bit too. Cause I think in the subbed, he was essentially like, if you had more meat on your bones, but in the dub, he was like, if you were taller and had more muscle, I would have liked you more. And then I was like, oh,
yeah.
that's a different tone. But I agree. It
But
was a
yeah.
odd interaction that I'm curious if that's just to be odd or if there's more later.
Oh no, that's Chekhov's rabbit hands. Like, there's no way that's not coming back. They
Yeah.
paid way too much attention to it for it
Yes.
not to be important. In the same way that I am expecting Giant Hamster and his Death Knight buddy, like, that's going to factor into something because we've
Yep.
talked about this twice now. We had the explanation of, oh, well, he's my training buddy, and so we spend all our time together. And then we cut back, and the Death Knight is sleeping on top of him. I'm like, this is going to come back around. They mentioned it. There's no way it's not going to come back around. So we're seeing all of these pieces, and I'm wondering how they're going to come together.
Speaking of that, what do you think of the Book of the Dead for Fluter? Which, oh my
So
goodness, that's the other thing too. The going between sub and dub, how people's names and places are pronounced is amusing.
Hysterical.
Yeah.
I paused that on the second read through. It's the Egyptian Book of the Dead. It is specifically the getting into the afterlife, how to get into the fields of Aru, and and I'm just sitting here. Like, the first time it was, okay, Book of the Dead, they gave him the Necronomicon, and the second time was, oh no, this is specifically Egyptian afterlife stuff, and I lost my entire mind.
And he was
Just
so
like,
excited with this special spectacle to look at it. It was like,
oh my god, and this is what human souls do, this and that and the other, and it's like, oh no, this is the afterlife practices of 3,000 years ago, 2 worlds away. So, like, it's ridiculous. I love it. And I love how completely just unthinking Ainz is about this. Like, yeah, I didn't really know, so I just gave him the most mystical sounding book I had. And it's the Book of the Dead talking about the Egyptian afterlife.
I just wonder
I'm
if
here
something's
for
going
it.
to come
This
of
is
it
so
because,
funny.
like, Henry
Why did
with
he have that?
That too. Like, Henry has her, like, the horn for the trolls, and that became way bigger than he planned. So I'm wondering
Yeah.
if this will be something like that, where it's like it becomes way bigger than he planned. And he's like, what? So I don't know. We'll see if that comes of anything.
I think it's going to send
It's like flute. In English, it sounded like fluter.
flu shot,
Yeah.
flu shot, flugel,
Our
flagel.
mystic older gentleman. Yes.
That guy, the betrayer.
Yes.
I think it's going to send him herring off down the wrong path, and I would be very interested to see how that plays into things, especially if he's betrayed Jersey, who, again, what is it with these names? But
yeah,
I'm still
I just wrote El Nix because I'm like, I can remember that. That's easy.
Yeah, it's something like his name, not title, is Jersiv. Jirciv. Like, okay, cool. This Gilgamesh looking guy, great, is having a very bad time. But supposedly this mage is like the brain here. Knows everything, has the experience, has the life experience, has the magical knowledge. So, like, who knows, man? I would love to see him just go down the completely wrong path, and then Ainz over here going, well, okay then.
He's like, all right.
I just gave this to him to make him happy, and he took it as God's honest truth. I don't know what to do with any of this, but okay. Yeah, this is he's a salary man who does not know what he's doing. Again, my roommate came up with imposter syndrome, but real. And I think that is just the best description for all of this.
Yes. Another item that we saw that's like, ooh, will we see more is the sword with the dwarf runes on it. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe there'll be more with that.
We had what looked like dwarves in the opening theme. So let's go.
We'll see. And then the
We had
last big chunk
dwarves,
of
we
things.
had dragons, we had all sorts of fun shit.
There are so many characters I want to see. Yes, that the opening theme song has. So the last chunk I would say is pretty much the Warrior King fight, Elnix cheering too much, and Megaphone. Yo, adventurers, if you want to like come actually do adventure, come join me.
Slide into my DMs. They're
Like,
open.
hey, I'm right
there. I really loved the I guess it's hard to get a cheer from the away crowd bit.
That was a good joke. That was definitely a
That
good.
was pretty great.
Yeah, I thought that one was very clever.
And just again, the back and forth between what's his internal monologue trying to figure things out and what is he actually doing and saying in this Einzul Gout. My brain went Einzal Ghul, and I'm like, no, that's incorrect. That is a portmanteau with a different character. Wrong. For those
like,
going, what? Ra's al Ghul is kind of where my brain went there. Yeah, that. It's like, we got the three no. Einzul Gout. Yeah, just the internal monologue versus what he's doing and saying is a lot of fun. And the whole bit with, we want to become a vassal state. Can you put that in writing internally?
Yeah.
What is a vassal state? I don't know this. Just the both of them internally screaming for a completely different reason. Excuse me.
Yeah, and then Elnix
for entirely different reasons.
Why did he reject it? There's no reason he should. And like,
I love the one guard going, maybe he just wasn't thinking about any of this and being 100% right.
Yep.
But when you're looking at just the political checks and balances and like if you've got like a sheet of fabric, it's pulled pretty tight at the edges, your checks and balances are pretty great. And then someone dropped a brick in one end and that brick is this sorcerer king who throws everything else off. You can't just go, oh, it was probably nothing, because that, well, coincidences sure are strange line from Ainz is the sort of thing you say when it's not a coincidence and you want them to know it. So even though it was a coincidence, that delivery did not say that. So
actually, think about it now too, another thing where it was kind of subtle, but kind of one of those you think moments was Ainz talking to the war troll and goes, oh, well, you're not going to make fun of my name? Oh, yeah, you've met more of my people? Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Oh, well, I've met one of you that's different. I maybe should rethink my opinion of your entire species. I'm like, yes, you meet one of any group, and that defines all of them. Like,
I read that more as I had a narrow definition of what your species, like how they think and act. I need to widen those parameters because I was wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I read it as. And then the Warrior King going, oh no, honey, I'm the different
special,
one.
Yeah.
just Ainz being willing to go, okay, I need to update my thinking because obviously I was incorrect. And then the Warrior King going, nah, you were right. You were right. I'm the different one. Just it's an interesting exchange, but I think it says more about Ainz being willing to go, oh, no, I'm willing to learn.
Yeah, and I just hope he applies that for other things of just because you're because that seems to be more of his core of wanting to get more information.
Yeah.
So it seems odd that he would go, I've met this, and so they must all be, oh, wait, there's more information. So,
I mean, he's met more than one warrior troll. We had a good chunk of that in season 1, and that's where we got the zombie troll that was then brought back to the village. So, like, not his first encounter.
I didn't really realize that in watching it, that was the one from the tunnel underground that he brought him back as a zombie. I feel this show makes the connections and then also sometimes very loosely goes, here's 2 points, they're connected. But you're like,
I've also watched it through twice because I did my own run and then I did one with Megan, and I need to watch it through a third time with all of these points in mind now going, where was that little scene where they talked about the ring? That's important. Every time we cut back to the theocracy, that's important. Who are they? What do they want? What are they doing? I feel like the slain theocracy is going to be a very large mover and shaker here.
Yes.
And that's why we haven't seen much of them. because we're using Riestes, which is a small kingdom, all told.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's peaceful and powerful, but still on the relatively small side,
They had a
to
lot of
to
soldiers
my
though,
understanding. Versus
because they
like
had like 240,000 or something like that, versus the others that had like 100,000,
I had
80
thought that the Empire was
something.
bigger.
I thought the Empire's
And
bigger.
I
Well,
thought
just
that the
because the Empire's
slain
bigger
theocracy was wild, though.
doesn't mean that they have enough soldiers too, because you could also have
Fair.
a like bigger space or just civilians. So
Fair.
yeah,
Just most of our dealings up to this point have been very thoroughly with
yes,
Riestes and the capital city and the village and, just all
yeah,
that area. Versus going into the Empire now, and the slain theocracy has been there from the beginning because, again, that was the force that was trying to wipe out this village that Ainz essentially adopted.
yeah.
But
He's like,
we
you're mine
know
now.
all we've gotten from the slain theocracy is these little cutaways to characters that are there talking about things, exchanging information, trying to figure things out. We're getting little teeny breadcrumb drops. And
Mm-hmm.
I do need to go back and rewatch this so I can go, there's a breadcrumb, write it down. Figure out some more
Please
information
report
about
back.
this place. Because
Yes.
that and the Godkin thing makes me think that, yeah, the slain theocracy is the direct result of a previous isekai generation
Mm-hmm.
several centuries ago.
But also, we're talking centuries within the world of this game, because it wouldn't be centuries in present day world.
Correct. Centuries within the world that we're in
Yeah.
now.
That's because
Like, I'm looking at time dilation.
Well, we also
like
don't know how
maybe
long. Yeah.
Well, maybe everyone who was in Yggdrasil got isekai'd at the same time. Everyone who was still there when the server shut down got isekai'd. But there
Mm-hmm.
was time dilation where a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
them got isekai'd 200 years ago, and
Yeah.
Ainz is only just showing up now.
Could be. Any other thoughts before we move on to other stuff people should check out?
I really do appreciate that it was all a coincidence. This is hysterical to me. I just, when this show was off, we had a long wait after season 3, and I'm just sitting here going, oh yeah, Overlord. Oh yeah, Overlord. I enjoy it. And then we go back to watching this, and I'm like, I forgot how much I love this show. So it's like, yeah, I'm not usually into this level of violence. Yeah, I'm not like, why did I like the show? And it's like, oh yeah, this is why. Because it's amazing. And again, I'm going to go back to, I don't think Silver Thread Bird is making it out. We got
Probably
the
not.
introductions, but I don't think they're going to survive the season. And they kind of get into some stereotypes just in terms of looks that are a little uncomfortable. So, like,
Gee, what?
sometimes you just got to sit back and go, yeah, there's a little bit of yikes in here. We're not all on the same page when it comes to things. And, we're just going to sit back and figure out what happens, I guess. But just given that, hey, we've introduced them. Hey, they're adventurers. Hey, they're going to be important to Jersev and to the things he needs to get done. Like, my bet on them, I'm landing on the tails you lose side of that 50%,
Probably.
Heads I win, tails you lose. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to make it out. We'll find out. We haven't focused on them yet.
No, not yet. So we shall see. And so no spoilers, please, for anybody who's ahead or in any medium
capacity.
Leave comments about what's been going on thus far, though. Now we'll talk about some other stuff you should be checking out, of other things we're watching, reading, and all that. I was like looking to. Yes. I finished Sandman. It's very cool if you're into that tone and vibe. If it's, as we've talked about before, if it's not quite your thing, it stays pretty tonally the same throughout. I thought it was really cool, so I enjoyed it. Bullet Train is definitely. Well, yes.
Did you watch the bonus episode that dropped?
I did. I liked
nice.
it. It's two stories within one. One of them is animated, which is cool. It has a lot of cool voices in it that I was like, wait, yes, I recognize those voices in the credits.
Yeah.
I liked both of them. I thought they were very interesting. And it was nice to watch afterwards because it ends well enough, but it was kind of like, So when do I get more? Like, I hope there's more
Yeah.
of this soon.
Yeah. Netflix was just tweeting out
Yes.
tweets full of cat emojis.
Yes.
Because for those going, wait,
There
what are
you
they
go. You
covering?
should go watch that one. Did you watch
Oh
that one?
no, I've already read like I said, I read the first 6 volumes of the comics. I
Okay.
know what this. I'm
The
familiar
cat one
with
is.
A Dream of.
Okay.
I think it's called A Dream of Cats and
It's like
Calliope.
1,000 cats or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I have read both of
It's a
those, and
cool
again,
animation style.
yeah.
Saw Bullet Train, very over the top violence and action, but very fun. Don't think too hard. Just very entertaining.
Yeah.
I am really digging the new show, She-Hulk. Watched the first episode. Super fun. I laughed a lot. I'm really curious to see where it goes. I'm not super familiar with the character besides just whatever was on like other cartoons when I was a kid, but it's a very fun show. And
Yeah.
I'd also
She-Hulk
recommend
was a great character, just generally speaking, in the comics in general. And for those of you, evidently there have been people expressing concern about Tatiana Maslany being able to hold down a show with like on her own without, and I'm just sitting here going, did y'all forget the fact that my girl won awards for holding down a show where she played almost every main character? Did we all forget about Orphan Black up in here? Where she was like 7 people acting off of body doubles when they had to shoot scenes? Like, did we forget that Tatiana Maslany can carry a show extremely easily? So it's one of those, like, for those of you who are like, I'm not familiar with Orphan Black, and do not doubt Tatiana Maslany. Don't do it.
I was trying to grab the name before because I was like, go check out their channel. It's maybe it's hold on. Sorry. I was like, because there's somebody who posted about it. I forget. I'll have to share it. But anyways, it's a very entertaining show. If you like, even if you don't know anything about Hulk stuff, it's still very fun and entertaining. Throwing back to Bullet Train, Giga Derek says, my friend and I are going as Lemon and Tangerine for Halloween. Yes! So those are code names for a couple characters. That is very funny. There's some more jokes about throughout the film. So, yes, it's very entertaining, and She-Hulk. So those are fun ones I watch. Also, one more in there, Daybreak is pseudo run-of-the-mill vampire fun action movie. Jamie Foxx. It was entertaining. Like, it's one of those, like, it's a popcorn flick. I don't think it's going to be like in my memory of best vampire ones, but it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yes. What have you been watching or reading, Katie?
YouTube stuff.
Weekend. Yes.
I had a busy weekend, and I had a busy week leading up to it. Whenever you work an event, there is always a good amount of prep that goes into it. So once again, most of what I have put in my eyeballs this week has been like 16 hours of Overwatch League, which brings me joy. And half of that was consumed while horizontal on the couch, losing my entire mind. Thank you, Washington Justice. Watch Overwatch League. Watch Contenders. Contenders is back this week, I believe, starting to what's today, the 22nd? Yeah, today's the 22nd. We're getting Contenders B-sides, 23rd and 24th. So, like, show up. Super fun. And also the second season of Cuphead, which is technically the second half of the first season of Cuphead, but we like to divide things up so we don't have to give writers, animators, etc. their residuals. Streaming is fun. The second season of Cuphead dropped on Netflix. I have watched the first half of it. It seems like the first season was like, hey, let's do fun shenanigans. Let's do ridiculous stuff. And then the first half of the second season is like, what if we had a bunch of episodes that just had candy-coated body horror? Like, there is a lot of weird body horror in the first half of the second season of Cuphead. We all just kind of stowed it there. It's still a lot of fun. I still really enjoyed it, and we're probably going to watch the second half of it next week because we've been dividing it up for family movie nights. But, like, it's a little weird. It's wild. And for those of you who have played the game and kind of can pick out, oh, this is the Baroness von Bonbon episode. Oh, this is the Cala Maria episode. Like, there are some bits where you can kind of call what's coming if you're familiar with some of the characters from the game. And there are some bits where it's just like, this is occurring. I'm a little frightened, but very entertained. So basically,
Nice.
it's very much a rubber hose cartoon because cartoons from back then were also very much into here's some buck wild, kind of disturbing shit, but we're having fun. So basically, Cuphead nails it. Absolutely nails it. And if those of you are, and for those of you who are like, we can't get enough Cuphead content, we had Frank Tadaro on the show, and he voices Mugman. Does an amazing job.
Yes. I was gonna say, there we go.
Yes.
And that brings us
Thus.
to the end of our show, and such as thus. Yes. So thank you so much for watching Nighttime at the Nerd Bar and joining us in the live chat. And if you're watching it later, again, comment down below your thoughts on the episode. Also, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and click that subscribe button. Check out the links down below for our interviews with the voice actor cast for the Dragon Ball Super superhero movie. And check out the article by Katie over on the FANVERSATION website. And, share it online too as well. And any of the stuff, share online, share away. And you can find us online. Katie, where can they find you?
You can follow me all over the social medias as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. If you've been watching Ruby Ice Queendom, we have been covering that over on my YouTube channel. We are a little bit behind. We're behind because a lot is happening, but it is indeed happening. We have been covering that. It is a good time. I am also on Silver Screams, which is a horror YouTube channel. We recently did a fairly long video talking about the plot of Nope. And if you want to see some very genuine reactions, we do reactions to horror trailers there, including the trailer for Halloween Ends. The Halloween trailers are the ones that really get the genuine reactions out of me. So if you like watching reactions to see people yell or jump out of their skin or do things involuntarily, watch those. Those will get you what you're looking for.
All right. And you all, oh, nice. I didn't even try to do it from out to in. Yes. Oh, you can find me. Magic. You can find me everywhere online at Carrie D Lane. That's KARIDLANE. TikTok, I have a video I'm going to post. I went to a fun volunteer appreciation event at a local historical theater where they showed West Side Story, and they encouraged people to dress up. And I went with my mom because she's a volunteer there, and it was super cute. And so I had a little video that I'm going to post on that event, as well as I posted from the Dragon Ball event as well. I'll be sharing that over on Twitter too, so stay tuned and check us out over there. So again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll be seeing you next time. Bye.